Welcome to the CHANDA Show. Today I am honored and delighted to welcome Mrs. Woolsey to the show. We're celebrating her in the 12M of education. And if you remember, the 12M stands for the 12 mountains, which are spheres of cultural influence. So, for example, we have education, family, government, healthcare, and so on. And so today, it's all about you, and we're celebrating your excellence.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity to come and chat with you today. I appreciate
It's
it.
our pleasure. It's our
Thank
pleasure.
you so
It's
much.
been hard nailing her down with her schedule, and then pop baby, so we had to get the interview in before school ended and baby came.
Yep.
And we did it. So, as you know, we begin each show with prayer.
Mhm.
And Mrs. Woolsey has been so gracious to join in, and so pray with us. Father, I thank you so much for this opportunity. I thank you for this time. I just thank you for this mighty, mighty woman of God. She's such a pillar of excellence, Lord. And I just thank you that her words will resonate and go out to all the whosoevers that can gain valuable keys from her and find their place as she did in this wonderful world of education. Thank you, Father. Let this day be blessed. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I have so many questions for you. So
Excellent.
let's begin with why you chose the mountain of education. Where did that come from?
Absolutely. So, becoming a classroom teacher is something I've wanted to do from the time I started kindergarten as a little 5-year-old years ago. My mom was a teacher, and so I saw her example of teaching. And then when I was in about first grade, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. And so that was something that I learned pretty quickly, that school was something that was a challenge for me. But I also learned through my mom's example and through great teachers that I could set goals and I could work towards those goals and accomplish things even though there was challenges or roadblocks in the way to kind of slow things down. And so as I progressed through school, I just had lots of different opportunities to work with children as I kind of moved through middle school and high school and things like that and into the college setting, and just continued to love learning and loved working with our young population. And so it was a great opportunity to continue that as I pursued education through schooling.
Was your mother instrumental in guiding you? Did she see these natural talents in you to become a... Did you teach or did you?
I did. So I taught elementary school for 10 years prior to moving into kind of an administrative role. And so she definitely, I was the oldest of 6 children in my family. And so I had lots of younger brothers and sisters to help mentor and support and work with. And I had opportunities to go into our local elementary school and volunteer and work with fellow teachers and things like that. And just loved my experience there.
When you were mentioning the younger siblings, I just had a flash of you teaching them, and then I had a flashback of when I was little, probably, well, I don't know, kindergarten age. Mm-hmm. That's kind of when you start playing school and your mom and playing with your babies. And I remember I was always teaching. I always wanted to be the teacher, and I wanted my friends to be the students.
I was also always that bossy big sister. Yep. Yeah, definitely. So my poor siblings.
Right?
Yeah.
So you could kind of rewind the film of your life, and you can see that there are these little drops, these little flashes where you see, oh yeah, I had an interest in that. I kind of already had a natural talent in that. And then you pursue it as an adult, and somehow we kind of forget sometimes to link the two together and reach back. So I see that in you. You can reach back and say, definitely. Oh yeah, that was a moment. Mm-hmm. And when your mother saw that in you, do you remember about how old you were? What age you were?
I think from the time I was probably 3 or 4 years old, I liked to be in charge and I liked responsibility. And so I think just naturally I took on kind of responsibilities within our family and enjoyed the opportunity to help and kind of guide younger siblings or friends and things like that. And so it was kind of a natural role that I know that they kind of helped cultivate in me, was just this opportunity to kind of build those leadership skills from a young age.
Yeah, leadership.
So,
leadership. Isn't that interesting? Like you
Yeah.
could just see that and you embraced it rather than pushing it away and feeling the burden. You just embraced it, and it just compounded interest as you got older.
Definitely.
Isn't that
It
interesting?
is,
I just
yeah.
love how you could just look at that as a movie and say, wow, all those skills were being developed when I was little, and look where I am now.
Right, right. It's definitely a life of, a life of experiences and
Yeah.
opportunities that have lead you to where you are today.
100%. And when I first met you, you were actually the assistant here, or right? Assistant principal, vice principal?
Yes, I believe the year that we
Yeah,
met, I was the
yeah.
assistant principal at the school. Prior to that, I had been the school's curriculum director.
Okay. That's
So-
a huge job.
It was.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I can't
It was a
even-
wonderful learning opportunity and a great opportunity to kind of just stepping stones into my current position. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. When we first came, which I'll get into later, but I feel so privileged that I had the opportunity to watch you in action as an assistant principal. And then the next year when we came, you were right into the principal position. Do you remember that? I like screamed and hugged
Yeah,
you. And
you were so sweet.
cheered you on. I was so excited.
You were the best cheerleader and such a great support.
I just knew you were in where you were supposed to be.
Oh, thank
and
you so
it was
much.
just brilliant. It was
Thank you.
brilliant. So, yeah,
Thank you
bravo.
very much. Thank you so much.
You're a new mom,
Uh-huh.
and was surprising. Like we kept waiting. You know, you got married,
Yeah.
and finally I learned your former name, and then you went to Mrs. Woolsey. when you
No,
got
from
married.
one complicated name to
Yep,
another.
and then baby, and just all
Yeah.
these blessings just came upon you. It seems like all at one time. How has it been transitioning from single to married and now a working mother? You're in the working mother
Yeah.
circle now.
It's been an incredible adventure. It's been wonderful. I loved my time in the classroom, and as a single individual, I had a lot of extra time to pour into my students in the classroom and really just give my whole heart to the success of my students, which was just such a blessing. And then as I had the opportunity to move into a curriculum director role, take on kind of some different responsibilities. And then as an assistant principal and principal, I had some opportunities that came up where met the great guy that I'm married to today, and now we're expecting our first little one in about a month. So
So exciting.
It's been
Just
such
real
a
quick,
wonderful-
Where'd you meet him?
as silly as it is, online dating.
Oh,
through one of our
Fantastic.
just church online dating opportunities.
Oh my gosh,
So
congratulations.
who would have thought? But
Cupid
So.
on the net.
yep,
That's
not
great.
what I ever would have thought would have worked out, but it was a great opportunity to meet somebody new. So
I think another point that stands out in your leadership that I really want the viewers to write down is focus. So if you're already hearing the thread through her story, it's focus. Your vision and you're focused.
yeah,
You see the vision and you stay focused, And I just think that's such it's easy to say, but it's a hard quality to keep and do and grow because there's so many distractions in life. But
Right.
just in the short time that I've watched you, I can see that intense focus. It's really rare and commendable.
and I think that's an example that I've had through educational experiences, and then through my parents as well, was just the importance of setting goals and working towards those goals, and not giving up when things get challenging along the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just persevering through
Yeah,
whatever may come.
100%.
So
That's right. I think most working moms will say the same. I know Rachel and I feel that way. And when I had Haven, after being agendaed my entire life and living by a schedule and having goals and reaching them, and then you just keep going and going and going, I remember sitting on the couch saying, what do I do now? I mean, there was just this space where you're like, my whole world just shifted. It's all about you right now.
Yep.
And letting that be okay,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
It doesn't mean you're not ever going to do blah, blah, blah. It just
Right.
means right now we're shifting seasons and we're doing this, and then everything weaves itself out
Right.
and you recircle back, and then it looks even better and different.
Absolutely
than
different,
before, right?
Absolutely different opportunities come. Some are expected, some are unexpected, but just being willing to, jump into those new opportunities as they come, and whatever season of life that you're in, I think makes you really just adaptable to growth and new experiences.
Being in the moment.
Yep.
100%.
Definitely.
Being in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm always ahead. And Haven really taught me to be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like just really looking at every little thing and slowing down, and
Absolutely.
it's beautiful. So I'm excited for you for that,
thank you so much.
I know the track you've been on is
Yeah.
going to be a real shift. You're like in
It
the Ferrari,
is.
and
It
you're going to
is.
shift all the way back down.
Yep, it's going to be so different, but it's been a wonderful experience. I've just had the best mentors to work with here
Yeah.
at Freedom Prep as they've encouraged me to pursue different educational opportunities and supported me along
Yeah.
the way. It's just been such a wonderful experience. So
Yeah. So your perspective on charter
Mhm.
versus public is the next topic I want to get into, because a lot of people have ideas about
Yeah.
public school and charter school. Even though charter school is public school, there's still kind of this, I think it's kind of fuzzy.
Mhm.
And for me, I didn't really have those fuzzy issues or questions until my daughter went into charter school, and then certain people would make certain comments about it. But before we get to that nugget, I
Yeah.
just wanted to ask you, from the first part of vision, your focus, your goal setting, and why you got into the industry or the mountain of education, what keys could you share with us that maybe we could apply to our life?
Yeah.
What are some takeaways that you might have?
That's a great question. For me, I think the opportunity to never stop learning. I think there's so many wonderful things in our world that we can continue to learn about, whether that's in the actual field of education or that's pursuing and looking at other areas, in our community or throughout the world. I think there's just so many opportunities to learn and to continue to better ourselves personally and become, the best individuals we can to help serve those around us. So I think the opportunity of service, being a key member in your community where you can help others, I think is one of the keys that has helped me to just really be passionate about education, is the opportunity to work with such wonderful children and families and help them to reach their individual goals.
It's everything I hear from you is others, give it out, and with excellence.
Yeah. I think if you're going to do something, you might as well do it as best you can. You might as well give it your all. So.
And because it's coming from the leadership, you're filtering that all the way down to the kids. And it's really obvious. You can see that.
Thank
What is your perspective on
Yeah.
public and charter?
Absolutely.
Because you said that you've worked in both.
I have.
So this is perfect.
Absolutely. Growing up, I attended our neighborhood public school and had wonderful experiences, worked with great teachers. When I graduated, I had the opportunity to work up in the Granite School District up in Salt Lake for a year and had a wonderful experience up there, but knew just geographically I wanted to move down to Utah County instead of Salt Lake County. I had the opportunity to really kind of get to know a little bit more about kind of a traditional neighborhood school and how things are run there. What drew me to Freedom Preparatory Academy or the charter school setting was just, it was a smaller setting, which I really appreciated the community feel within the school. Within the school, one of the things that I've absolutely loved with Freedom Prep is the opportunity for us to work with our students from the time they're in preschool or kindergarten all the way through when they graduate 12th grade. As a preschool through 12th grade organization, it's been wonderful just to see those students work their way through. They choose to remain in our program all the way through their educational setting. As far as the difference with charter schools and a traditional neighborhood school, like you said, they are both public schools, but they're operated a little bit differently. A charter school is operated or kind of governed by a charter that's approved by the state and then overseen by a local governing board that's made up of elected volunteers from our school community. And I've loved that charter schools have the opportunity to focus their curriculum or their programs that they bring into their school to meet individual student needs.
So it really is interesting how charter schools have really diversified in different ways of teaching.
Right. And
That's
the
a good
beauty
point.
of a charter school is it's small enough that changes can be made to meet the needs of those students without
Right.
having to make a change that then affects an entire school district.
Right.
And so it's kind of the opportunity to look at a local needs and adjust instruction or curriculum
Right.
to meet the needs of that local area.
So we're both going for the same objective, the same goal, and yet we have these different paths. And I think it's so beneficial because the people, have different ways of hearing information and obtaining information, and so we're supporting each other in these different beautiful ways. So the 12M is really supports the 7 habits.
Absolutely.
And I'm really interested in knowing more about when you said basically we're identifying those gifts when they're little and helping them to discover them and then nurturing them all the way through high school. What exactly does that look like? What are some more details that you could give us?
Absolutely. So as you work with young students, oftentimes we're identifying areas that need a little extra improvement or a little extra help. But one of the things we don't want to forget is the areas where students show strength or where they have interest or would like to learn more. And so one of the things that we've implemented in the last few years or tried to look at is not only setting goals for improvement, but also setting goals for continued growth. So if a student is really interested in science or they really just have a passion for writing or reading, whatever it is, we want to also pursue that talent and help them to continue to develop that while also working on areas of weakness that they need to continue to develop.
Is that why you have the after school programs? Was that one of them? The Lego, the science, the theater?
Absolutely.
And I'm sure there were more. Yeah, Haven participated in 2 of those, but I know many of our friends did the Lego class, and they all loved the science. So pre-COVID, we had these fantastic after-school programs that were free to the parents, or maybe a small fee, like $5, just to cover
Absolutely.
supplies. But that was like amazing. That's another differentiating fact
Definitely.
that Freedom offers
Yeah.
that some other schools may not.
So those provided a couple of different opportunities for us. First of all, it allowed our teachers to share some of their talents and areas of interest with the students, but also gave our students an opportunity to explore a variety of different areas. Those classes are usually hosted by one of our classroom teachers, and students are invited to come and participate and try some new things. Maybe they're things that they enjoy and have done before, or maybe it's an opportunity for them to learn a new skill. And we've had a myriad of different opportunities for our students throughout the years. It just depends on what the teachers choose to offer that year. So whether it's a running class or a Lego or robotics, we've had service classes, we've had origami classes, anything you can imagine.
Yeah.
They've been, they've been included in classes.
As far as nurturing the whole person, it's definitely here, definitely. And I would have to say to the organization and the structure is from the top down. You can see that. You talked about identifying each strength and weakness in a child, and you've created a way of letting that child develop without changing schools or changing classes. And in fact, meaning they would, if they're higher in one level, they don't have to stay back or necessarily project forward to the next grade level. So Haven excelled in math. So in first grade, she was actually in second grade math.
Right.
And then you created this program where the children that were in that category could just float to one class, and then they would resume their studies in their first grade class with all the other
Absolutely.
students. And I thought that was beautiful. There was another student who really excelled in reading, and I remember her vividly. She's so quiet, and she just would do her work, but she was already like in second grade, and she was allowed to stay because of age and maturity with her peers, but she wasn't hindered academically.
Right.
So that was beautiful.
Absolutely. That's one of our areas of focus is differentiating for individual student needs and helping them to meet those needs. Part of the Leader in Me program that we've absolutely just adored here in the school is leading by example. You start with yourself and then can help others.
Right.
And so helping them to identify those talents and then supporting them and growing as they progress through school.
Yeah.
So
100%. I love that. I use that at home all the time. Seek ye first to understand others before you're understood. It comes in quite
yeah,
good with
absolutely. That
preschoolers.
seek first to understand,
That's
and then
right.
to be
Yeah,
understood.
yeah.
Absolutely, definitely.
The other, there's so many pluses here, so many differentiating factors that set you apart. But one of them, really, really important, is the dropping off and the picking up of the students and the safety. All the teachers volunteer, and literally when you drive up to Freedom Preparatory, it's like going to the valet airport. Each parent is assigned, there's 3 lanes. There's red, white,
And blue are
and
school
blue.
colors.
Red, white,
yes.
and blue. Okay. And so through the duration of their school time here, like we're in the white zone. So I know that I pull up and I get in the middle lane and I follow that all the way down around the front of the school, and I pick up Haven, and the teachers are there to make sure they get in the appropriate car and
Absolutely.
to guide the traffic. And it's seamless. I mean, these kids, it's like, I don't even know if they know they have valet service. I mean, it's just so elegant. I love it. So that's just one of the courtesies and the special customer service, if you will, that you give to the parents and the children, and the safety.
Absolutely.
The safety is like amazing. They have an amazing check-in, check-out system here. Also, you allow the children to call home,
Absolutely.
which is amazing because the children are never felt like they can't reach out to mom or dad, that if they need to call mom and dad for whatever reason, there's phones in the classroom. They can always go to the office and call mom and dad, and that's really rare. I didn't have that when I was going to school, and so I just think, sometimes they just need some love. And
we really feel like our parents are an incredibly important part of our school team. We can't do it without them. We need them to be a part of our team. We love, in a non-COVID year, to invite our parents to come in regularly and volunteer within the school. And we hope that as health conditions allow, we'll be able to re-invite parents back into the building on a very regular basis. But we also want them to feel comfortable popping into my office if there's any sort of need, or coming into the office with any sort of questions. We really are, we call ourselves the Freedom Family. We want everyone to feel like they're a part of our Freedom Family.
yeah, we do.
So,
how did Freedom Preparatory get started? Where did it get started?
So it was started back in, I believe 2003. This is our 18th year of operation. And it was started by a group of parents that wanted something a little bit more for their students. They didn't feel like their students were being challenged enough in the schools that they were currently attending. And so the group of parents came together and they drafted a charter and went to the state and got approval for it. And we actually started in a little warehouse building in East Bay, Provo. And we're there for a couple of years before they expanded to kindergarten through 8th grade at our Provo Elementary campus. And then we're there for several years. And our high school students that had moved on through 8th grade and into high school started coming back and saying, I just don't feel like I'm being challenged in my current situation. I don't feel like the curriculum and things that I'm receiving at the schools that they were attending was providing them with enough challenge and opportunity for continued growth. And so parents and students started encouraging and asking for us to consider expanding through a high school. And so after a couple years of their encouragement, our executive administration decided to go ahead and look into that. And they eventually added our secondary campus that's just probably a half mile from our Provo campus, just right down the street. And then after that, they looked at opportunities to grow in our developing Utah communities, and decided to go ahead and open a campus here in Vineyard. And then this fall, we'll be opening our 4th campus down in St. George, Utah.
Awesome.
And we are so excited for that opportunity.
Oh, that's so needed down there.
It is.
That's amazing.
So
that's
it's been
really good. Yeah.
We're so excited. It's in a wonderful new community down there.
Oh, how fun. Where? So the viewers can know.
So it's in the Desert Colors community.
Okay.
Just on, I believe it's kind of the south end of St. George.
Oh, how fantastic.
And it's just an area that is growing.
And you guys
immensely.
have a real niche there.
Mm-hmm.
You have a real niche. You'll have a niche there because the other two that are there are completely different.
Right.
So that's great.
Right.
Bravo.
So we're
Well
so
done.
excited for that
And
opportunity.
you know what was coming to my mind was don't don't despise small beginnings. You
Absolutely.
started in a warehouse, and when you see this school, you'll just, wow. And the Provo campus is wow. It's huge, it's beautiful, it's
Right.
just, but it started small.
We absolutely
And
did.
now look,
Yep.
faithful with the little, right?
Absolutely. Well, even with our Vineyard campus, we started with about 300 students the first year we opened, and now in year 5, we're close to 600. So
Nice.
it's just wonderful to see the growth.
That's great.
So,
What, how else could you compare Freedom Prep? Like, what other differentiating factors would you say Freedom Prep has from others for the parents out there that are thinking, huh, maybe I'll tell my friend about it, or, why would they choose Freedom Prep?
right. We've talked a little bit about this previously, but one of the areas that we really try to focus on is differentiating for individual student needs and meeting those individual student needs. We have great curriculum programs that we really feel help our students to make good success and be prepared for future education and then future, career opportunities as they move on. And we also just have such a great community of teachers. I can't fail to mention just how wonderful our teachers are. And they really care about the success of the individual students, and we couldn't do what we do without them. They really are just the backbone of our school. They care so much about the success of our kids, and are such a wonderful resource for us. So.
I think that's one of the most important keys.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's a lot of teachers that are burnt out, and my philosophy is if you're feeling like you have to go to work or you have to do something, that's a time to do a self-check and reevaluate and start looking at what's my next season, because you're not serving yourself well, and you're definitely not serving the people you're supposed to be serving well. And I've never felt that at Freedom Prep. All the teachers, in fact, there's one that's already encouraging Haven to be in her class. And I'm saying that because it's such a love. Like, I've never talked to this teacher before. We wave to her every time we come in and leave. But there's this affinity and this love that she has for the children, and she reaches out. And I felt that with all the teachers. They always say hello, and they're interested in our kids. And unfortunately, it's kind of rare. And with COVID hitting, the teachers, the amount of work they had to do and the hoops they had to jump through was just mind-blowing. And with your leadership, that was amazing. You guys didn't miss a beat. It was seamless, and the teachers never ever complained. They set a date for us to come in and get our work, and they went over and beyond the call to make sure that we were able to get on all of the assisted programs online, and they availed themselves whenever we needed to chat with them. It just was amazing. But not one of them complained. Not one.
No. And as we went to them as administration and said, okay, we've got this new challenge, here's our plan, they, were so quick to say, how can we help? What can we do? And they were so innovative and willing to roll with the changes that came. There was days when we would get information, and then the next day we would get different information that would adjust how we were functioning or running things. And they were so adaptable and willing to just work with us to help our students be successful, even though they couldn't attend school in person last spring. So
I love it when I hear people say that they reach out to the community that they live in and really support it and engage and get involved, because that's really a core to Haven and I. Our lifestyle is we really try to engage everyone that we come in contact with. Like, everybody's important. Whether at Winco or Harmon's or wherever we are, everybody's important. So make eye contact and talk to them and ask them about their life, get to know them.
Absolutely.
And you had mentioned that you do outreach. What does that look like?
So the city of Vineyard has just been so incredibly welcoming to us as we came into their city 5 years ago. It's a community that's been around for a while, but it's been growing immensely over the last 5 years, which has just been incredible to watch. But the city has come to us so many times and just invited us to be a part of community events. We absolutely adore the Orem Sheriff Department that works with us as our school resource officer, who comes and visits the school daily to ensure student safety. They have just been such an incredible support. We've had opportunities to serve with them in the community as they've had different events that have come up. One of the things that I know that's exciting coming up here is they've recently the City of Vineyard's opening a children's library. They've got a small children's library here in the city, and so they've reached out to us, and we've been able to work with them and having some kind of their representatives come in and teach our children about this new opportunity they're going to have in their community to visit the library. And so it's just been a wonderful partnership with the City of Vineyard.
See?
So.
That's what it's all about. Collaboration.
It is. It absolutely is.
It's all about collaboration.
Yep. Nobody can do it themselves. We need each other.
People try.
They do. They do. But you get so much further
burn.
when you work together.
That's right. 100%.
So we can learn from each other.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I love when people get it.
Yes.
It's like we're meant to collaborate together and share the load and invest in ideas and grow. And yeah, it's good. It's good for our community.
Definitely.
Your staff, I have a note here because I asked Mrs. Amanda, and she says, I think Mrs. Woolsey is an amazing leader and boss. Her kindness and care and attention to detail is unmatched anywhere I've ever worked. And Amanda and I kind of have this sisterhood because we're both transplants, and so we have new experiences that we share, and so for her to speak that of you was so heartwarming, because I said to her, I feel exactly the same.
Thank you.
Just through observation.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that your faith has probably played a lot in your life. Can you just express what you wish with us on that?
Absolutely. I think, first of all, it starts with the individual. Each person is so just important and talented and wonderful in their unique ways. And so I think we really start with just serving and caring for those around us here in our community and showing kindness to others. You never know what challenge somebody might be facing, but you can always try and be an influence for good in those individuals' lives. And so just approaching things with kindness, and like we've talked about with the 7 habits, seeking first to understand and then to be understood, listening and being there to help each other through whatever challenges come, but then also helping each other to grow and develop. Knowledge is such a wonderful, powerful thing, and I just feel so privileged to have the opportunity to work in a school setting where we get to focus on learning, because really learning opportunities are endless. It doesn't matter whether you're in a formal school setting or just reading or learning something in your home or within your neighborhood. There's so many great opportunities for learning and personal growth. And then there's such a blessing with working with children. Children are just precious and such a wonderful resource in our community and in our city, and they're our future generation, and so it's just such a pleasure to have the opportunity to work with them and learn from them. I probably learn more from them than they learn from any of us here in the building, just from their examples and their sweet spirits and kindness and the way they care about each other. So
that's huge. Wisdom. Your
Absolutely.
thirst and your hunger to be a perpetual student comes through, and it gets downloaded to the children because your teachers feel the same way, and so their wisdom is just compounded daily. And then all of you teachers, give them a platform to live that out. You really can see like what they're taking in, they immediately live it back out. And then it just keeps adding, right?
Absolutely. Well, it's so important to lead by example. Nobody's perfect, but we all can try to do our best and lead by showing each other the best way. And so I think just leading by example, and then having our teachers also be great examples for our students, and our students are great examples to us.
Right.
So
there's no marker. It's not we act this way in school and then we're going to act this way in the world. It's a great training for whatever mountain you find yourself in as you're growing up. That quality, that excellence of character gets threaded through, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Retirement. Because the baby, I heard a little birdie say there might be retirement. What is that looking like for you? It's big question.
It is so bittersweet. I've had the opportunity of working with Freedom Prep for 14 years now, and they've really just become my family. And I love just every single individual we get to work with, our teachers, our administration, our executive administration, but also each of our wonderful students. And so I'm sure I will be in tears on the last day of school this year as we say goodbye. I hope it'll be a short-term leave as I leave to start our family and to raise this sweet little boy that we're expecting in a couple of weeks. But hope to be able to come back to the field of education in a few years when my little one is in school.
Would you come back to Freedom as principal, or would that look like something different for you?
We'll have to see what opportunities are available at that point. I absolutely love Freedom Prep and would not hesitate if there was an opening or opportunity to come back.
Do you have someone in mind who might be taking that place as principal?
We do, yeah. So we've officially announced over the last few weeks that Carrie Banfield, who is one of our amazing fourth grade teachers, is going to be moving into the principalship role. So
I got chills.
Yeah, and she'll continue to work with Dr. Wahangi, or Jody Wahangi, who is our assistant principal.
Yeah,
and so they're going to do a fabulous job, and I really do think it'll be a seamless transition. But
see, that's another beautiful thing. You're celebrating.
Absolutely.
Celebrating her. And she's celebrating you. And that's kingdom.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about. There's no jealousy. That's the other thing. There's no competition.
Oh, definitely not.
You know, the children, they compete against themselves, which is very kingdom. You know, compete to do your best, but not competing against so-and-so. And the culture of the admin here is the same. You all celebrate each other.
Absolutely.
All of you always speak highly of one another. And, you know, that's rare elsewhere.
So, and I think it comes from the example of our executive director. She is just an incredible mentor and influence, and really wants to help not only grow the students, but also she wants to grow her teachers and administrators and people that work under her. And so her example and influence has just been so wonderful to work with and to learn from. So
bravo.
Yeah.
From the top down.
Absolutely. Yep.
So your legacy in the mountain of education, what would you like that to look like, and what legacy would you like to leave the children and freedom? And
definitely, as I think through that, I think back to my first day in the classroom teaching on my own, as I left student teaching and took on my own little class. And I remember the thing I wanted to at that point instill in my students, and still do today, is that each of them can be their personal best, whatever it is. We're all going to come in with different challenges and things. Coming from a background of a learning disability and struggling through school, and having to climb some tough mountains, climb some steep hills. I want our students to know that we're here to support them through those challenges, and they can achieve anything they put their minds to. There's no limit to their success or their potential. And so I hope that they know that that they can do hard things but they can also find great success as they do those things. So
yeah, that is so on spot, and that is so you.
Thank you.
And I know the children are absorbing that, and that's called the season of preparation. It's facing those hard challenges, and it's falling down the mountain a little bit, but getting back up and saying, okay, what did I learn from that?
Absolutely.
What key, what tool do I need to get back up and climb a little bit higher? And I'm not a failure, and I'm not defeated. I just slipped a little bit, and I'm going to get back up because I have the right tools and I have the right keys.
Yep. Definitely.
That's an amazing legacy.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, they're going to get that.
I hope they do.
100%.
Yeah, and I hope they develop a love for learning. I hope that they'll leave us and continue to learn and improve and grow in so many different ways.
Yes.
So.
Yes, for sure. There's not enough words to say. I appreciate, and I thank you so much for your dedication and your focus and your vision and your smile. I don't think there's ever been a time when I walked past you and you're always, it feels like you're speed walking, like all the time through the halls. You're always circulating, busy, checking on this student, checking on that class, and you're smiling. And I call you the quiet leader because you don't talk a lot. You're focused. You could just see that your brain is just clicking and you're moving, but you always have a smile.
Oh, thank
And
you.
it just was such an honor to be with you today. And I thank you so much for making time. And my company, CHANDA Concepts, would like to honor you with our Award of Excellence
Oh,
in the
thank
Mountain
you.
of Education.
Thank you so much.
I love
It's
you.
been such an honor just to get to chat with you today and to work with your daughter. Who's
Thank
just
you.
an incredible student. We absolutely
Thank
adore
you.
her. So
Thank you.
thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
And for your example.
So from our family
thank
to
you
yours,
so much. That is beautiful.
Certificate of Excellence in the Mountain of Education.
Thank you so much.
You're
What an
welcome.
honor this is.
My
I
pleasure.
appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you for your example here in our community and all you're doing.
Thank you.
So we appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
Thank you.
you. Well, I hope you enjoyed the CHANDA Show and took valuable notes. Come see us at Freedom Preparatory. Mwah.